state to a Christian oligarchy to a high-tech industrial democracy can get together and agree that psychedelics are a terrible, terrible thing is because the social effect of psychedelics being taken by large numbers of people is a kind of deconditioning from the cultural myths. Whatever they are, it's no knock on any given society. It's just that if people start taking psychedelics, they start questioning what they've been told about reality. And culture is in the business of keeping you inside a set of predetermined answers to those questions.
Well, based on that, then, Terence, perhaps legalization day is 2012.
Well, there you go, Art. There's an apocalypse that would shake our world and leave the heavens intact.
The day the drug war ends. First-time caller line, you're on the air with Terence McKenna on the Big Island of Hawaii. Hello.
Hi, Art.
Hi, where are you?
I actually am also from San Francisco.
Okay.
So it seems to be San Francisco night for the last two calls.
Well, I'm not surprised.
Nor am I.
Anyway, I just wanted to tell you up front, I am a professional stand-up comedian, and I guess sort of in the vein of Lenny Bruce, so I do a lot of research, and I've read a lot of your writings, Mr. McKenna, including The Archaic Revival, Invisible Landscape, and also, excuse me, the CD that you have that you did with Space-Time Continuum.
Oh, yeah, the Alien Dream Time.
Yeah, which was very fun. And I'm also familiar with Mr. Sheldrake's writings as well. And I would say to the 25% dissenter faxes that you've been receiving, Art, that they are probably saying that because they're not familiar with a lot of what Mr. McKenna is saying.
Well, and a lot of them never will be. It'll go right past them, and they hear one thing only, and they see devils. And,
right.
You know, that's okay.
Right. Well, actually, in relation to what you're saying there, I would say the gentleman who considered Mr. McKenna to be in league with Satan, that the truth does not have an ideological agenda or anything like that whatsoever. My question to you is, you're familiar with the writings of John Lilly?
Sure.
In my neighborhood, there's actually an isolation tank center, and I regularly go down there with mushrooms, and I'll hop into the tank while I'm doing mushrooms and whatnot. I'm very fascinated by your writings on DMT, and what I'd like to know is, how would I be able to locate DMT or the plant that it comes there from?
Now, I don't know that we can tell that on the air.
Well, we can say something. We've already said it's right behind your eyebrows.
Right.
So that's one thing. The other thing is, the real practical answer is go to the Internet in terms of if you want to locate plants in your ecosystem.
There you go.
There's vast discussion of this and incredible enthusiastic communities, but as Art says, we've already pushed the envelope. I don't think we can start peddling Schedule I substances on the air, nor would we wish to.
Nor would you want me to, sir, because then you might not hear me anymore.
Right.
However, it's on the Internet. Look, it's a lot less dangerous than a lot of the other crap on the Internet, building missiles and bombs and all the rest of that. So,
can you? Can I ask you this? Can you give me
use a search? Use a search engine.
Right.
All right.
All right. Thanks a lot.
That's what they're there for. Wildcard line. You're on the air with Terence McKenna. Hello.
Wow, I actually got through.
Yes, sir. It seems that way. Where are you?
I'm in Madison, Wisconsin.
All right. Go right ahead.
Another hotbed.
Well, first of all, Art, I just wanted to say about a year ago I talked to you, and you were telling me that I was doing myself a lot of harm by using psychedelics. And I think Terence is just good proof that someone can turn out all right.
No, I didn't tell you that. Oh. I didn't tell you were doing yourself a lot of harm.
I thought you did.
Nope.
No?
I wouldn't make that judgment. That's something that only you can conclude.
I see. But also, I want to make a suggestion for a guest. I think Terence might be familiar with them, but have you ever heard of Douglas Rushkoff?
Oh, yeah, I know Doug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've read many of his books, and
just what he needs, more publicity.
I think he's just a great guy. And
all right, anything else?
Yes. Terence, I have a video called Alien Dreamtime.
Yeah.
I just want to say I really like it.
Oh, yeah, well, that's a thing I did a few years ago with a band called Space-Time Continuum, yeah.
Yeah.
What was the essence of it, Terence?
Well, it was a rave in San Francisco, and I talked about, if you can imagine this, I talked about the impact of psilocybin on human evolution to a backbeat. This is something we haven't gotten into here, Art, but I have a whole other rap on how mushrooms actually impacted and caused the breakthrough to self-reflecting human consciousness. We'll have to save that one for another time.
I guess so. Interesting. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Terence McKenna. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Larry in Peoria, Illinois.
Hi, Larry.
This is really very interesting because I just recently read some of the excerpts from the Psychedelic Experience by Timothy Leary, which is his take on the Tibetan Book of the Dead. And I missed the first part of the show, so I'm sorry if this has already been talked about, but I was wondering what is basically the difference between DMT and LSD.
Good question.
Well, LSD lasts hours and hours and tends to be, I think my own phrase is abrasively psychoanalytic. Essentially, I think LSD does what most people think psychedelic drugs do. They cause you to review past memories. They cause you to see your life in a different light, so forth and so on. DMT is not like that. It seems to go beyond the personal dimension. It doesn't matter, I think, who you are or where you started from. It carries you into its own world, a world that is alien on its own terms and doesn't have a lot of information in it about your psychology or your dilemmas. So it's less useful for psychoanalysis and more useful for exploring what I consider to be pretty dramatic paranormal dimensions, considering they're so easily accessed.
You're speaking about, it's interesting, all this talk about dimensions and going to the next level. I just had a psychedelic experience recently when I had a meditation on the nature of the universe as being like a geometric structure that's so immensely more vast and diverse than you can really explain.
Well, I think, there's the vastness of space and time that we know about, but then as we look into the micro dimension and we see how much there is in the atomic and subatomic world, I mean, the world is an amazing and dynamic place, and this is why I'm so down on ideologies, because I think they're dusty mirrors to hold up to the splendor of the felt presence of the living universe.
Here's I believe, McKenna quote. Quote, Western civilization is a loaded gun pointed at the head of this planet. Unquote.
Yep.
Yep. Western civilization is a loaded gun pointed at the head of this planet.
And what I think I was referring to there was resource extraction, propaganda, pollution of the atmosphere, and this sort of thing. If we continue to practice our cultural values as we have practiced them over the next 1,000 years, we're going to make the earth unfit for our children, which is a sin and a tragedy of such magnitude we don't even have a name for it.
Boy, I sure agree with that. And then this, quote, LSD is a drug that occasionally causes psychotic behavior in persons that have not taken it. Terence McKenna quoting Tim Leary in Los Angeles in 1991. Accurate?
Well, I tried to give that quote to Tim, and he swore to me he'd never said that. So it's sort of hanging out there in the air, but it's a very funny quote because I think it makes clear to people how agitated you can become by drugs you haven't taken, and how often the people who have the most negative drug reactions are the people who didn't take the drug.
You are a heretic. And just one last, as we head toward the bottom of the hour. The mind rests on a foundation of chemical machinery.
Yes. It rests on a foundation of chemical machinery. It is not simply the product of chemical machinery any more than I am an automobile